Ooh, we are storming in this week, guys, with some heavy news already. That's right, some console MMO news fresh right out the gate. But anyway, happy Monday, and if y'all want to stay updated on all things console MMORPGs, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Gamers and game mats, what is going on? My name is Tanek027, and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Fiesta Online. That's right, Fiesta Online. If you want to stay updated on all things Fiesta, make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get on into today's topic. So first and foremost, shout out to my man Striker for hooking me up with this information on Discord. Now, I was actually going to go ahead and play this on PC, to give you guys a little bit of gameplay in the background to showcase in today's video, but I downloaded this on Steam, right, and I booted it up, and then it immediately put my Steam launcher and everything at like 540p, gave me this weird login screen, like froze my Steam and all that. I was like, what? And I was like, oh no, man, I want to make a video on this game. This is already a bad sign. I was just concerned. I was like, nah. So we gonna loop a trailer or something, because no, I don't got time for today. No. But yes, guys, y'all are reading this news correctly. It looks like Fiesta Online is finally coming to consoles. And I mean all consoles. Here on their website right here, I'll show you they are advertising Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm assuming, because, it's even coming out on the original Nintendo Switch, these are probably going to be PS4 and Xbox One versions that run on PS5 and Series X and S's. I have no idea, if they're going to make native versions for the current gen consoles and, like the Switch 2 and all that stuff. I'm hoping they do. But when you look at this game, you look at the visuals and, and how old it is, it's not a demanding game at all. So I see this running, perfectly 60 FPS just fine on, all the last gen machines. And I think, if they bring it out for last gen too, that's just more players for them. So all power to them, if that's what they're doing. But yeah, I'll read you guys the official quote here on the website. It says, Fiesta Online is coming to console. Fiesta Online is heading to consoles. The beloved MMORPG is currently in development for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. Soon you will be able to explore the colorful world of Issa on your big screen from your sofa, or take the adventure with you in handheld mode. Jump into quests, meet other players, join a guild, and team up for Kingdom quests wherever you play. Keep an eye on upcoming news to find out when and where you'll be able to try Fiesta Online console for yourself. They have a little news thing here where you can stay up to date and all of that fun stuff. Now, for those who don't know, and if you can't tell by looking at, the trailer in the background and stuff like that, Fiesta Online is a very old MMO. I believe this game came out on Steam in like 2008 or 2009. It's a really old game. And, I've watched videos about this game from other creators like MMOBite, who, is now known as Sticks and Married to Gaming. He made a video about it. He didn't say the game was like amazing or anything. He just said, it was pretty average and point out some problems with it. Josh Strife Hayes, on the other hand, didn't really care for the game too much. I've seen some recent 2026 videos more so about it. Some people are making guides and stuff like that. The game still does look like, in some of the content I've seen, that actually has a healthy player base. The only thing that concerns me a little bit, now me personally, I haven't really played many games by Gamago, but they're the guys in charge of this. And Gamago, I've heard some questionable things about, all right? I don't know too much about them, so I'm not going to speak on them, and claim it's, it's God's word or whatever like that. But I'm just, a little skeptical. And not to mention, when older MMOs that have been on PC forever that could have, been worked on, or brought to console with like older hardware and stuff. Like, remember, I'm going to say something straight up. Final Fantasy 14 was made on a PlayStation 3. Not only a very old console, but one of the most complicated consoles of all time to develop for. So I don't really give developers, much of an excuse anymore when, when an MMO is not on console. Like 14 is like a a World of Warcraft status MMO, and it came out on PlayStation 3. All right, so that's just that's my take and my stance my stance on that. But what worries me is whenever these PC MMOs come to console, like a years or a decade later and stuff like that, the intentions aren't always the best. They're trying to get as much money as they can before they shut the game or something down. And there's only been a couple of MMOs I've seen come to console after being on PC for a while that actually have, good intentions and look like they're going to stick around for a long time and things like that. Like prime example, Neverwinter. Neverwinter hasn't always made the best choices, but the game started on PC, they came to console, and they've been focusing on, expanding more and more ever since. I'm not going to talk about games like, Final Fantasy 14, Elder Scrolls Online, stuff like that, because those all launched on PC and console simultaneously. I'm talking, specifically about the games that are, on PC forever, and then they just randomly pop up on console one day. Like Wizard 101, they're another example of a good one. It's not the most beloved and an MMO, that's for everybody, but they came to console with good intentions. They expanded their game, they did it the right way, and they actually saw success and got a whole nother million players for doing that. So, for developers, who are actually trying to do it right, it does come out right and it does work. But I'm just hoping the intentions behind this console version are true. They plan on sticking to it. They have a bigger vision for their game, and they're not just trying to milk their community for every cent that they can get before they, give up and all this stuff, because that would be just something sucky, and it would be another just downfall in the MMO genre. I'm hoping that something good comes out of this. Let me know, guys, if any of y'all have played Fiesta Online down in the comments. I'll leave a link to everything down in the video description and below. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.